And should you be putting your pricing on a website? Should you not?
I feel like a lot of creatives have a lot of strong opinions about this. And so today we are going to talk about the pros and cons of both.
That's one of the issues on why this question comes up so often, why you've probably thought about it. I know we've thought about it at different points in our career, and we're going to help you figure out which side of that you should be in. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Rest Podcast. So glad you're here today. We're talking about websites and we're talking about pricing. And should you be putting your pricing on a website? Should you not? The do's and don'ts. What do you do, Christy? What do I do? It's going to be a great podcast. So
this is genuinely, I feel like, one of our most asked questions when it comes to websites. I feel like this is the thing that people are always like, wait, do I put my pricing on my website? Do I not? And I feel like a lot of creatives have a lot of strong opinions about this. So I feel like sometimes you find yourself in either camp feeling like that is the right way to do it. And so today we are going to talk about the pros and cons of both and what we do in our businesses, and wherever you're at in your business, it might be a little bit of a different answer. So we're going to dive into it, which is awesome.
Yeah, the reason why this question won't die is because there's actually some nuance to it. It's not a super straightforward black and white answer. Now, the answer we're going to give you today, we hope is going to be quite black and white, and we're going to help you figure out which side of that you should be in. But that's one of the issues on why this question comes up so often, why you've probably thought about it. I know we've thought about it at different points in our career. And today we're going to give you some good answers on that. So let's talk about right off the bat, what is the case, Christy? We're going to get right on into it. What's the case for hiding pricing?
Yeah. Well, I feel like I was in the hiding pricing camp basically not
forever.
Up until recently, but basically up until recently, specifically in my wedding business. So background, Joey and I are creative business owners. We work both in the brand space, in the commercial brand space, and we also work in the wedding and couple space, or I work in the wedding and couple space. So for basically my whole career as a destination wedding photographer, I hid my pricing. And hiding sounds like a negative connotation. I just didn't publicly post my pricing on my website. And I would have people obviously inquire. And then from then on, I would reveal a pricing guide to them and start the conversation and jump on a sales call. Now, I did that because I felt like my process of selling people would actually upgrade someone in their budget. So that's also why I didn't ask budget inside of my inquiry form, is I was like, I just want someone to be like, I have no idea what their budget is. They don't know what my pricing's at. We enter into a conversation. And I believe that my pricing guide, my intro email, my sales call would push someone to potentially stretch their budget for me. So with that being said, I also was like, I can handle my inquiry load, because the amount of inquiries coming in has obviously fluctuated from when I first started. But even at the busiest times of my career, where I was getting so many inquiries every single week, I had a little bit of a team that could help me manage inquiries. But I felt like, you know what? I have the time and resources to be able to respond to all of these inquiries. And so I can handle it. I can manage it. And it's like not that big of a deal if I get some low ballers, which you're always going to get. They will self-select out in the process. So the pros, in my opinion, for hiding your pricing is if you've got a really great sales process. If you know you can get someone on a sales call and you can basically close them, you can crush it. You've got a great pricing guide. You can actually sell a lot of those people who maybe initially would have gotten sticker shock on your website seeing your pricing and had never inquired in the first place. So if you're someone who's like, hey, I currently either don't have enough inquiries coming in and I kind of need to take every lead super seriously and try to sell every single lead, I would say don't put your pricing on your website. Hide your pricing, or we should really come up with a different phrase than hide your pricing, but not reveal your pricing on your website, and actually try to sell those people and really warm them up in the process, and then reveal your pricing, because they may go, oh, you know what? I can actually swing that, which is big. So that's one of the reasons.
That's definitely one side of the argument, right? Is hide your pricing, don't make it public, and try and make sure that you help comfort them and educate them through the sticker shock of working with you, especially if you're more high ticket, right? And your wedding's $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000. So like there's really some merit to that.
There is a sticker shock that comes to those pricing. Right? But yes, I do. For the longest time, I operated off of that. And there's also other reasons for not revealing your pricing, right, Joey? What else would you say? Like, for instance, having customizable pricing. If you don't have locked down pricing, you actually literally can't give someone hey, this is what this normally costs. Hiding your pricing is also strategic in that way as well.
Yeah, like if your offer really depends on the scale of what you're doing for them, right? That's a very, very good reason to not have like bulletproofed pricing that you're going to get stuck in and locked into, which is pretty good. So
so that would be hiding pricing.
This is what most people do, by the way. I feel like when they are trying to grow.
Yes.
Right? Like in a lot of people's seasons of growth, I want to get more inquiries. I want to just get as many people in my inbox as possible, get as much opportunity to sell people as possible. I feel like this is really the starting ground for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then there's option 2.
Yes.
Option 2 is...
Which I actually recently converted to in my own business.
Yeah, which is showing your pricing. And
Yeah.
why would you ever show your pricing on a website? So, Christy, why would you show your pricing on a website?
Yeah.
Talk me through it.
As I said, for the longest time, I was doing that, operating in that way of hiding my pricing. Now, I feel like my life has changed in a lot of ways, like still working fully in the brand world and working in the wedding and couples world. And I've just found myself, my time is a little bit more precious than it used to be. And I just seem to have less of it. So for me, I made the decision literally like last month to actually post starting at pricing on my website. So I started doing that. I'm actually doing like a full overhaul of my website too this next month, which I'm excited for. But I decided to make the switch and actually do starting at pricing on my inquiry form because I was just getting so many inquiries, which is awesome, but I was spending so much time replying to so many different people. And when you often do, like I did a big giveaway recently, like I had a huge influx of inquiries, even more so than normal. And I just found myself spending so much time responding to inquiries that I was just like, you know what? I just honestly need higher quality not higher quality leads. I just need to weed out the low quality leads. I just don't have time to respond to them right now. And I really want to isolate to only people that are really serious. Like it just felt like for my time, for my business, that just felt like the right move for me. So that's what I did. And honestly, so happy that I did it.
Yeah.
So if you might be in the same boat, but I would only do that. I would only do that if you have sufficient amount of inquiries coming in. If you are someone who wants to grow and you aren't having a solid inquiry inflow, I would not put your pricing on your website.
And let's actually like put a numerical value on that. What is a solid inquiry flow? Let's talk about it in the wedding space first, then we'll jump to the brand space.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on how many you want to book. What's the load that you can
Let's
take?
say you want to book 20 weddings.
If you're booking 20 weddings, I'd have to look at like conversion. Everyone has different conversion numbers, of course. But
good lead flow is going to be, if you want to book 20 weddings, you're getting at least probably
you should not have
2
your
to 3
pricing on
a
your
week.
website if you are not getting at least probably 2 inquiries a week. I would say.
Yeah.
I would say that, I mean, I think there's exceptions to that rule, but if you're only getting less than 1 a week, I would not put your pricing, especially if you're not booked out for next year, right? Like if you're not actually like getting really close, I would not.
Yeah, if you're only getting 1, 2, maybe 3 inquiries a month, I think 1, you've got a lead generation problem. 2, when you do work so hard to get those leads to your website, if your pricing just sticker shocks them right away and they never inquire, then that's also a secondary problem.
I will put a strong caveat to this. If you are someone who actually is on the lower end pricing wise, it may be advantageous for you to do your starting at price. If you feel like, oh no, I'm kind of on like the lower end, it actually would be advantageous for you to put pricing on there because people might go, oh wow, that's like less expensive than I thought it was. I will inquire or I will do this, you know? So you could totally make your pricing public if it's inexpensive, but it's not red flag pricing.
But you need to decide, is price a selling point for you? Because that would be a situation where price is actually a selling point to work with you, where price is not a selling point to work with you. Price is not a selling point to work with me. If price is a selling point to work with you, it's not a bad thing at all.
No.
Absolutely
if you're like
not a bad thing.
Quantity
it's
value,
just a different style either of business or just a different way of promoting your offer, or simply maybe you're a little bit newer and you're just trying to get as many bookings as you can. There's nothing wrong with making price a reason to book you.
Yes.
But the only reason, if you don't have a lot of inquiries, you should be putting your pricing on your website is to show people, hey, look how good of a deal, look how much value there is for the price you're paying. If price is a selling point for you, that is the only time I think you put your price in full on your website if you have really, really low inquiries.
Absolutely.
Now, in the brand side, same thing. If you're only getting like 1 inquiry, every month or maybe 2 inquiries every month, you again need to focus on lead gen. But same thing, like unless price is a selling point, I would still probably caution you to just try and get as many people hitting that submit button on your inbox, on your inquiry form as possible before you actually sticker shock them with the price. Which is really important.
And and don't hear us saying like, oh, if you're doing good in your business, put your pricing on. If you're doing bad in your business, don't put your pricing on. That's not what we're saying at all. However, think about it. You may have someone come to you that you'd be stoked to work with them for 50% less than your normal package, right? Like what if it's a dream client, a dream scenario, and you're like, dang, I would have actually probably even given them a discount because it would have boosted my portfolio, or it's a great relationship builder, or it's a job I just super want to do. You have no opportunity to even engage in that conversation with that client, where it's much easier to go, hey, you know, starting at means this, if they ever were to ask, right? Rather than just being able to have a blank slate to work off of, and then you can figure out how you want to handle those things from there. You really do limit the amount of inquiries you get when you do publicize your pricing, especially if you're at a high price point. So that's where I would say, even if you're thriving in your business and you're like, my pricing's high, I'm thriving in my business, I have a lot of lead gen, I would say consider still hiding your pricing. If you have the time to be able to handle all of your inquiries, it might be a really great thing, because you never know who someone who might inquire now, who can't afford you now, may be able to afford you in a year, right? Or in 2 years.
And you can start that conversation. Yeah, absolutely. So the opposite of this is showing your pricing, right? Like we're putting pricing on a website. And the answer to why you would ever put pricing on a website, really quickly, right off the bat, the biggest one is, obviously, it cuts out a bunch of lowballers, right? That's the reason why you put it on your wedding pricing. It's the reason why our website that I just rebranded and we rebuilt recently, spearscollective.com, we've got pricing in our FAQ section. It doesn't have pricing underneath all of our services, but it's got pricing in our FAQ section. So the reason why we have that on there is because I don't want to have to deal, again, with a lot of inquiry inflow if they're just not people that are going to be really suited to work with us right now. And we're willing to take the risk of losing out on future business from people that we could have potentially upsold, or potentially just built a good relationship with, and in a year from now, they really circled back and they had a bigger budget. We are sacrificing that for putting pricing on our website that might sticker shock people, but we're gaining back a ton of time so that we can actually continue just to focus on what we want to focus on without having to hire someone to go through all of our inquiries. So that's a trade-off we're making right now. Now, is that the smartest trade-off? Who knows? That's the trade-off we're making right now. It's what we feel is best for our businesses. So the biggest reason to show pricing on your website, again, is to cut out lowballers, okay? Now, there's a few other reasons that are very important to mention that you really need to consider when you are deciding, are you going to put pricing on your website, or are you not going to put it on your website? The second reason why I think putting pricing on a website is great is it asserts that you are confident in your value. You know, one of the worst things, just to picture this for a second. Imagine going to a store and, you know, it was beautiful from the outside. The products look great. You walk in, you find something, let's say it's a pair of shoes. You're like, wow, these are so beautiful. It's amazing. And you pick them up and you're like, oh, what's the price? You're looking on the bottom of the sole. You're looking on the inside. It doesn't have a tag. You're like, this is weird. I can't find the price. So you go up and ask somebody and say, hey, what's the price on this shoe? These are awesome. And they go, oh, well, you should
send an email.
Send an email, and we'll let you know what that price is, right? Like that would be incredibly, you know, frustrating and totally push you out of the sales, you know, nurture process to actually becoming someone who buys that product. Now, that's an extreme example, but the same thing is true for your website. If you make pricing hard to find, if you're making people work way harder than they should, or way harder than the other photographer, filmmaker, social media manager, you know, in the other side of town or next door, if you're making them work way harder than them, the odds are they're going to have a bias towards working with the other person simply due to ease. So putting pricing on your website asserts that you are confident in your value, and also makes it so much easier for the client to just continue to think about going down the process with you, which builds a lot of trust. So those are a couple really key good reasons to put pricing. And I think that actually segues us to what is our official approach that we would tell almost every single person listening to this podcast. Well, we could say it really quickly. Don't have enough inquiries, okay? Don't show all your pricing on your website. Just try and drive as many leads to your inbox as possible, but have starting at prices listed somewhere on your website. It doesn't need to be directly underneath your services or directly underneath your packages if you show packages, but make sure it's somewhere like in the FAQ section or something. You do not want someone to be like, okay, I love this person's work, I love her work, I love his work, but like, what's the price? It's not listed on the packages. And then they go to your FAQ and it's like, gosh, it's not listed here either. Like, this is an obvious question I'm sure everyone's asking. You do not want to make people feel like they have to fight to get prices out of you, okay? You don't want to look like you're like straight up hiding it.
Or if you are not listing your pricing, make sure that when someone inquires with you that they get a pricing guide from you before they have to book a call.
Yes.
Or else you're going to just have so much battle with that. So if you don't have pricing listed anywhere on your website, make sure it's delivered after the first point of contact.
Somewhere on your website, or immediately they've got to get it if they ask for it. One of the worst things you can do when someone says, well, what's your price for this? You say, oh, well, just book a call with me and we'll jump on and chat about it.
Don't be worried about your pricing,
they're
bro.
like, and then they say, okay, but I don't want to book a call until I know kind of like what your pricing looks like. And you say, well, I don't give that away. First book a call. Like that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
And we push everyone to book calls.
Yeah.
What I would say in that situation is, hey, would love to book a call to really understand the scope of work so I can give you a fully accurate price. Don't want to mislead you, but typically for, services in this category that you're inquiring for, we're going to end up anywhere between this range and this range. It's going to be a huge range, like, $2,500 to $22,000 for a photo shoot, which is like true. Like we would do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So give them a big range and that's fine, but you want to make someone know that you're not trying to hide pricing. Okay.
No.
So if you want more inquiries, hide your pricing a little bit, but make sure if they really try and work for it, they can find at least a starting price. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, on the opposite side of that, if you have a lot of inquiries, feel free to hide your pricing. Feel free to show your pricing and use it to deter lowballers.
Yeah.
Assert confidence in your value and then make sure people can lean into that and trust you, which is really, really great.
Yeah.
It all basically comes down to the question of, what are you needing in your business the most right now? Is it inquiries or is it ease of selling? And if it's inquiries, then you know what to do. If it's, I just want an easier sales process. I want to cut back on my time. I don't want to have to spend hours and hours and hours. I remember like earlier on when you didn't show your pricing, there'd be evenings where you're just like sitting there on your computer after we eat dinner and you're just on the couch sitting there for like 2 hours answering emails,
Yeah.
versus now that you show your pricing, especially how we do it in our content agency, like
much higher
it's
quality leads.
Much higher quality leads,
yes,
right? Less
way
leads,
less hectic.
but way more qualified,
Yes.
which is important.
Absolutely. And if you're like, how do I show my pricing? Do I have to like attach my PDF with all of my package prices on it and get super, super specific? You don't have to do that. Especially if you're like, oh, I might fluctuate it depending on travel or depending on this or whatever it is. You can just have a starting at price or you can give a range. Like on average, our clients usually spend with X to X with us, depending on need. However, please inquire for an accurate quote. You can do something as simple and vague as that. I would say keep it semi-vague so that you do have the ability to adjust where you need to adjust and you don't get caught in a pickle of like, you changed your pricing or for some reason it needs to go up, yet your website says something else and feels like a promise. You don't want it to feel like a promise. It can be just a starting at price and that will help you with more qualified leads, but also keep you with some freedom, which is great.
Yeah.
So
I think to wrap this whole thing up, we are big fans of starting at prices, being somewhere in your buying process.
yes.
It's got to be. So that's kind of our thesis on pricing on your website. Should you show it? Should you not? That's our take. So hopefully it's helpful for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you're following us on Spotify. We've gotten a ton of Spotify followers over the last couple of months, last year, which is awesome. So super cool to hang out with you on Spotify. Thanks for hanging out. If you're on Spotify, drop us a comment. Just say, yo. Maybe drop if you're going to put your prices on the website or if you're going to hide them. Let us know on Spotify or on YouTube, of course. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, which camp do you fall in?
Yes.
Are you in the show price camp or the no show price camp? And then tell us why in your comment. We'd love to hear.
We'd love to hear. But great to hang with you guys today. Hopefully this has been super valuable for you. And we'll catch you guys next week.